Hey girl, hey! Welcome back to another video. I'm so happy to see you back here. Today we're going to be doing an interesting video. We're basically going to be doing half a face of luxury versus half a face of drugstore. So on this side, I'll be using luxury products, high-end, you know, those types of makeup brands. And on this side, I'll be using drugstore products. This type of video is my favorite because it's a really fun challenge to make the makeup look as cohesive as possible. And also I'm going to be using a lot of some of my favorite products that I use on a regular basis, and I'm also going to kind of pull some out from my archives that I love but I just don't get to use a lot, and some that are not so much my favorites. You'll just have to stick around and see which ones those are. So we're going to get right into it. For primer on the drugstore side, this is like one of my favorite mattifying primers. It's from Rimmel and it's called the Stay Matte Primer. Like, this is for the serious, like, oily people because it will keep everything in place. Now I like to put this on my forehead, on my nose. I'm gonna kind of have to do it down the side of my nose. Also here, like where I have some pores, because I do get oily right around my nose area, and then also on my chin. I honestly feel like that's one of the most underrated primers, but this thing will last you for so long. Now on the high-end side of things, I'm gonna go with the Huda Beauty. This is the Matte Perfection Primer. Now the cool thing about this is it is mostly a water base, so this is like for those of you guys that you need something mattifying but your skin can't really handle like extra matte products. I typically tend to use this in the winter and spring, times when I know that I'm still gonna get oily but I don't need like extra oil protection. Now if I did have to stack those two primers together, I'm honestly gonna say that the Rimmel one is way better at holding the oils back, but I think for those of you guys that have like dry or combination or normal skin, you're still gonna get good use out of this. Now because I've got combo skin, I still have to use multiple primers. For the drugstore side, I'm going to be using my NYX Honey Do Me Up. I had to pull this out of my, I like to say archives, it's not really archived, it's just an old favorite of mine that I still love, I just don't use as often. I particularly like this for like right under my eyes because the under eyes, they need some help. They always need a little bit extra hydration. And the high-end portion, this is from Fenty Miss Riri. I love this primer. It goes so well with a lot of other foundations as well as the Fenty foundation. This is the Profiltr primer. I feel like you can never go wrong. It's like hydrating but also gives like a soft blur, you know? Okay, so the trick here with my primers is I have to pick two primers that actually are similar in color because I can't be walking around with two different colors, two different undertones. Nuh-uh. So the two that I chose are the Coverfx. This is the Power Play foundation, a really great one. And then this one here is the Covergirl Trublend Matte Made. So first things first, I'm gonna go with the Trublend. This little guy, when I first tried it last year, honestly, was like one of my favorites, and it still is. It was a very surprising foundation. I didn't really expect to like it that much. So if you're like me, you might be very surprised. Now I will say it's definitely for those of you guys that like a natural beat. You will spot conceal if you need to, but you're not obsessed with getting a full coverage look because this is definitely more of a natural beat. You're not gonna get full coverage, but it just sits on the skin so nicely, fills in the pores. It performs like a luxury foundation. So if this fits your criteria of products that you are interested in, definitely check it out. And I believe it's definitely like $10 or under, somewhere around that price point. And of course, my favorite part, okay, is that they have a really wide shade range. Like, that's amazing. I think they have like 40 or 50 shades, something like that. And I feel like they're evenly distributed, so it's not just like all in one shade, you know? So you're bound to find your shade, your undertone, whatever it is that you need. Okay, so you see the difference in color here. Now for this one, this side, I'm gonna go for the Coverfx, and this one definitely has a little bit more coverage, so I'm gonna have to kind of go in very lightly because I'm trying to match the coverage of the Covergirl, because I don't really have much to cover up. My skin has been treating me very nicely and I can't complain about that. I definitely find now that it's super warm and humid in the Northeast, less products are just like the way to go for my skin, you know? I definitely want to know, for those of you guys, for your summer routine, like what do you do? Do you just use less skincare products? Because I find that with the humidity, like my skin is just like, I don't put a lot of layers on me, you know? That match is not too bad, huh? I mean, at least you can't tell I'm wearing two different colors. So I'm just gonna pounce this in like I do all the time with my makeup sponge. This one is from Eco Tools, and honestly I don't have a high-end makeup sponge because I just don't roll like that anymore. Ever since like the Beauty Blender foundation thing, I just don't buy the original one, and I really like drugstore makeup sponges. Like, why spend more when I don't have to, you know? So some of you guys that have been here for a while might remember that I'm actually from California, if you couldn't tell by my Californian accent. And I'm so excited because I'm going to visit for just about like 6 days. Kind of so weird to like do this with just one side. By the way, this is the Wetnwild Photo Focus Concealer, and I believe this is in the shade Deep. Oh, dark. But anyway, every year I go to VidCon. Those of you guys that don't know what VidCon is, it is a conference for video influencers, so YouTubers, anybody that makes video content no matter what platform. And they hold it in Anaheim every year, and it's the most fun for me because I'm a huge nerd. Like, I love learning new things. Obviously, I love video content. I mean, that's why I spend so much time making it. But I always like to mention these kinds of conferences because they're such a great way to make connections with other influencers, to network, to learn new things that are happening in this space, like every year new trends, to get re-inspired with your content. Because I feel like in any field, like you need to keep pushing yourself to learn new things, learning a new skill, you know, trying out a new platform, all those kinds of stuff. So that's just like one of my favorite places to just go and like learn new stuff. So there's like a little bit of a difference in coverage. Obviously the Coverfx that I almost forgot to tell you guys about, this Power Play concealer has more coverage than the Wet n Wild Photo Focus. A little bit patchy, and sometimes I just like to use my fingers in certain areas, like if it just didn't blend well, you know what I mean? Now I'm gonna go in with the Milani. This is the Contour and Highlight Stick, and this little stick here is like one of my favorites. It just blends so well and no one ever talks about this. I don't know why. And then the high-end side, of course, my little Fenty Espresso. Such a good one, and it's even better when you warm it up on the back of your hand just so that it doesn't tug on your skin. That's a little trick I learned from Priscilla Ono on one of her Instagram story tutorials that she did. She's so gifted. She's amazing. And of course, like I was telling you guys, I'm headed to LA and my family's there, so I'm so excited. I get to see my family, my siblings. It's just gonna be a good time, and the weather, although the weather is not bad here, it's gonna be nice because it's not gonna be humid. It's just good old-fashioned dry heat. I never thought that I would miss dry heat, but yeah, I kind of do. So of course I gotta set under my eyes. I'm not gonna leave my under eyes hanging. And the first one I'm gonna go in with, this is the Milani medium to deep translucent powder. I'm telling you, no one ever talks about this one, but it is the best. So like, especially if you have under eyes that are prone to being cakey or just creasy, it just blends so nicely, but it's not too mattifying. It just sets it like just right. And you see the difference between that like nice filtered set and the unset portion. Now, of course, we're not gonna leave this one alone. I've got the Dermablend Warm Saffron. I haven't used this in a while, but I still really, really love it. Dermablend makes some of the best setting powders. Now, depending on what your preferences are, they have you know, tinted ones like this one, the warm saffron, or they have a really great translucent one that makes your makeup smudge proof, I think sweat proof, waterproof, like it's bomb. And I particularly like using this one in the summertime as well, just because in the winter my under eyes do get a little bit drier, so you know, it's not as suited. But I think if you have oily skin even in the winter, you're probably gonna like this a lot. All right, so to set the outer parts of my face, for the drugstore side, we got good old Maybelline Fit Me loose powder. Okay, this stuff is like, man, it's so good. I feel like Maybelline's department where they just like excel are the face products, like the base products, like foundation, concealer, powders. And I'm just going to apply it to the outer portion right here, and I'm going to do a very light dusting. And then of course I'm going to counter that on the luxury side. We're going to use the Lancôme Translucent. I've had this for a while and there's something so gorgeous about this one. It like always sets and it gives a nice like pearlescence to it, but it's not shiny. It's so hard to explain. It's like setting, but I don't know, the way the light just bounces off of it is absolutely divine. And I know I'm like really going in with these powders, but we're not done with like bronzing. For the drugstore side, I'm gonna go in with the full spectrum powder from Covergirl. The color that I have right here is called Deep Cool 4, and I'm just gonna dip in here just a little bit. See how nice that looks? But it looks so natural. This is actually like a face powder that you can use all over your face, but I choose to use it as a bronzer, you know, kind of warm up the face in these areas here. But I like that it's subtle. If I wanted to, I could build it up even more, but I'm not going for anything too extreme today. Now on the other side, we got one of my favorites. This is the Benefit Hoola in the shade Toasted. And when you look at this, it doesn't look like it's much product, but I'm telling you, it's like a good chunk because it's pigmented. And I'm just going in, this is like a little chiseled cheek brush, and you see how nice that is? Just like a hint of sun kiss. Now I'm gonna switch it up and take it back to the eyes just for a little bit. Now I'm gonna use the same concealers that I used under my eyes to just kind of prep my skin right here on my eyelids. Now I'm usually like not a big fan of doing this because when I do my eyes, I love having like a lot of pigmentation. I just want my colors to pop, but we're going for a neutral eye look today, so I'm not really worried about that, you know? Now on this side to set, I'm gonna use my Milani setting powder, and I'm just going to dab it right along here. And on this side, I've got my Coverfx, the Power Play Concealer. Just got this because it's really a lot of coverage. And then to set it on this side, I'm using my Dermablend, and I just kind of take whatever's left in the cap, just kind of tap it off, and then tap it onto my eyes. Now, if I wanted to, I could just leave it like this, but I'm not, obviously. I gotta add a little bit of some color on here. Now, on the drugstore side, I guess you could consider BH Cosmetics. Well, it's not exactly drugstore. Okay, it's affordable, but you can get it at Ulta, so I'm just going to say it's kind of drugstore. I'm gonna take the color Brick from the Round 2. It's my Ray Ray, and I couldn't find exact matches to this, so it's gonna be what it is. And I'm just gonna use a blending brush right in here to just kind of like blend out that transition. And then I'm gonna go in with a flat shadow brush to just add it all over the lid. Now, of course, on this side here, I'm gonna go in with, this is the Urban Decay Born to Run palette. If you were around when I reviewed this, you would know that I did not like it, and I'm gonna tell you why. First, before I do that, I'm going in with this color right here, Riff, putting it right in that transition area. Now, I have to tell you why I didn't like this. The mattes for me were actually really beautiful, excellent. I thought that they were gorgeous. However, the shimmers just were very lacking. The shimmer shadows were the type that look gorgeous in the palette, but don't pop on the lid. They just kind of are very diffused. And I can say that if you like that type of look, then okay, fine. You'll really like this palette. But it's kind of a pricier palette, so I'm kind of expecting the shadows to perform, you know, especially when you're spending almost $50. It better pop on your lids. So that's why I tend to not really recommend it as much, but yeah, you know. Okay, so for my inner corner highlight, I'm taking that same palette, and this is the color Shinin'. Such a cute name, I love that. And of course, I always go in with a wet brush for this kind of stuff, and look at that inner corner. So beautiful. And now on the other side, I'm gonna go in with Stranded on the Born to Run palette, and the brush is wet as well. The shades are like almost the same, but a little bit different, but I'm fine with that. We're gonna go in with a really bold lip, so that's why I'm kind of taking it easy on the eyes, you know, not doing too much. Now I'm gonna put some liner on my eyes, and I'm going to be really quick about this because it takes me a while to do my liner. Now on the drugstore side, I'm going to be using this from Fenty Beauty. This is from their Pixie and Wei Li Hong collab, and it's got one side that's a liquid and the other side that's a kohl, so I'm gonna be using the liquid pen side, and this is honestly probably the best drugstore one that I've ever found. I'm really picky with my liners. Most of the ones that I like are definitely in the higher end category. Now on this side here, I'm going to be using the Urban Decay. This is the Perversion liner, and it's newer, and this is honestly one of the first high-end liquid liner pens that I've ever liked, and that's honestly because it dries super quickly. The pen tip is so like thin and precise. I can like really get in there, which is sometimes kind of hard with eyeliner pens, especially when you have hooded eyes, but it just gets the job done like so quickly. Okay, so for lashes, I gotta be real with you guys. I'm gonna go in with the same style. So it is drugstore because I don't have a high-end lash and a drugstore lash where the styles actually match, but this one is the Ardell Demi Wispies that I'm putting on right now, and they are just really good daytime lashes. Nothing too extravagant, but definitely fit in with like a more natural glam style. Now I'm gonna move on to blush. So for the drugstore side, I'm gonna use one of my favorites. This is a Black Radiance Toasted Almond, and I have so many drugstore blushes, but honestly this is the one I keep going back to. It's just so good. It deposits like just a hint. You can build it up if you want to, or you can keep it kind of sheer, which is the look that I really like to go for. And then on this side, the luxury side, one of my favorites. This is the MAC and Patrick Star. This is the Take Me Home blush. And this is another one that you can kind of build up or keep kind of sheer, but they're both really lovely. I mean, I couldn't pick one over the other. They're just both bomb. Now we're gonna go on to a liquid highlight. I've got the e.l.f. Power Glow Highlighter. These are liquid highlight, and honestly nobody ever talks about them. I just feel like they really pack a punch. Like you literally only need this little dot, and I like to take my finger, and you see how I've got so much on here? That's still even too much. So I dab the excess off, and I just kind of go really lightly in this area, and then I just diffuse it with my fingers. I really find that that's the best way for liquid highlight, to just look natural. Now you can use your beauty blender, but I feel like sometimes that sucks up too much of the product, but you really only need just enough to look like that liquid glisten, you know? And the shade that I use on this side is called Rose Gold. Now an equally good product that's also a little bit more expensive, this is the NARS Orgasm Illuminator, and same thing, I'm just gonna put it on the back of my hand, and this one you don't need to be as careful with because it's not as pigmented. It just gives off like a little bit of a sheen, but like I said, it's nothing to be like, oh my god, I put too much, you know? It's just like, ooh, there's a little bit of some shimmer. So this one dries down, and it looks like you can still see that sheen, but it's not as like wet looking as the e.l.f. one. My newest drugstore highlight obsession has been the Flower Beauty. This is the Shimmer and Strobe Highlighting Palette, and I'm gonna go in and use this one. I don't know, I don't think that there's a shade name and it is really pigmented, so just, you know, take your time with this one. And if you don't like the super highlighted look, just like go in really slow, like you only need a little bit. But you see how nice that is? Like, whew, that's a mean glow, a mean summer glow. Now on the other side, I'm gonna use the Laura Mercier. This is their translucent medium glow powder, and I am in love. This one is definitely more of a everyday kind of glow. So as you can see, I've got like two different highlighter combos. This one is definitely more of a like everyday, like I'm going to work, you know, I'm trying to like be corporate appropriate, and this one is like, hey girl, I'm here and I'm shining. Now before we get into lips, I'm going to spray some setting spray. So on this side of my face, I'm going in with Beach Cosmetics Studio Pro Makeup Setting Spray. So I'm just gonna cover this side up. That one like blasts a lot at you. And on this side, I'm going in with my Urban Decay D Slick. This is one of my favorites for the summer. So I'm just gonna cover up right here and then fan myself down. Now this is where things might get a little weird and a little funky, because I'm gonna do two different lip combos, drugstore and high end, and I hope that they look decent paired together. But I had to go through my whole collection, and some of my arm here is like stained red. But I hope I got the ones that are at least comparable. Now I want to do a red lip. I haven't done a red lip for you guys in a long time, and I think that you deserve one. Now this lip liner right here, this is from Covergirl. It's from their Exhibitionist line, and it's called Cherry Red. I'm going to use this to align my lips. It is kind of a brighter red color, which I usually don't go for, but I just figured, you know what? Let's try something new. And on this side of the face, I'm going to use this lip liner from Laura Mercier. It's called Crimson. They totally don't match. This one is way lighter. So the best I could do is I grabbed a Kokie Cosmetics, what is this color? This is called Rose Berry. So I don't know that it's gonna be exactly a match, but maybe it's gonna bring us close enough. Now there we go. So it's not perfect, but c'est la vie, right? Now for the drugstore side, I'm gonna go in with Shea Moisture. This is called Poppy. And then for the high-end side, we've got Laura Mercier. This is Rouge Muse. This is actually the first time that I get to use this lipstick, this red lipstick from their line, which I've been wanting to do for a long time. But I don't know, you know, I'm always a little bit nervous to wear reds. Now I want you guys to tell me which side you like best. Do you like the drugstore side, or do you like the luxury side? If you guys want me to do more of these compare and contrast high-end drugstore videos, let me know down in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to check out some of my high-end and drugstore reviews right next to me. Enjoy, come chill, come hang with me. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next video.